What's going on, guys and gals? This is DCD Turd Ferguson here with your tutorial on how to set up your stream overlays with your OBS software. OBS is open broadcasting software. It's what you'll use to actually do your stream if you're on PC. This tutorial is specifically going to be geared towards PC players right now. I'm working on getting the exact specifics on what you can and can't do with creating an overlay for a console. At the moment, you can't do it straight from your console, but there is a workaround where you can still get an overlay on your console stream. So stay tuned, and in the next couple weeks, I should have that tutorial video up and going. It's going to be quite a bit more complicated than this one is, just because you have to jump through some hoops in order to actually get an overlay on a console stream. But stay tuned, that'll be at a later date. For this one, we're going to keep it simple. Again, this is geared towards PC players. So console players, just kind of hold tight. PC players, once we've got our OBS installed, if you don't have it installed, go ahead and go to any of your browsers, any of your search engines, however you want to call it, and then go ahead and just type in OBS. Once you type in OBS, Open Broadcaster Software is going to be your first result. Click on that, and then go ahead and click your operating system. Once you've got that clicked, it's pretty much point and click from there. Just follow the steps and it'll be installed. For the next site that we're going to go to StreamElements. StreamElements is where we get out all of our team overlays. Once you're here, you're going to hit login at the right. Now, this is going to log me in automatically. I'm not going to have to authenticate or anything. For anyone who's just now doing this for the first time, go ahead and get in contact with either Marlon, Plant, or I, and let us know when you're going to try to log in. We have an authenticator just for security purposes, just in case anyone gets our login information that's not part of DatClickDoe. So go ahead and get in contact with one of us before you log in. That way we can give you that code. Once you have the code entered, you'll never have to do it again, so you can log in, log out as you please. But I'm going to go ahead and hit log in. It's going to authenticate it with Twitch. You'll log in with the same credentials that you would with Twitch because it's going to log you in actually through Twitch. That's the account that it uses to create this account. Once you're here, you're going to go to My Overlays. This is where all of our team overlays are. I've got a couple here that I haven't updated just yet. These first 5. I need to tweak these to where they're accurate to the team credentials, and then they'll be up and ready to go. These bottom 4, however, these are all up and running and ready to go. So if you have a strong internet connection, I would go ahead and say shoot for the animated scenes. It'll say animated on each of these. Animated scenes means there's moving parts to each scene. There's going to be, on this, there'll be like little embers going by. On the Overwatch one, this little middle part will kind of be spinning. It looks really cool. If you don't have a very strong internet connection or a very fast one, I would stray away from these though, because these pull a lot of the bandwidth, because you're not only streaming your actual game stream, you're also pulling from a website that has to constantly update. So it'll use quite a bit of bandwidth, and you need to have a strong internet connection for this. I learned that the hard way, got my internet fixed, and now it's running more smoothly, but don't make the same mistake I did and try to shoot for the animated one if your internet can't handle it. If it can't, we do have some static scenes. The static scenes are much easier to run if you don't have a super strong internet connection or a super fast one. So just go ahead and pull one of the static ones, and I'll get all these updated so that anyone can use them, depending on what your internet's like. So for this, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we're up at the very top. I'm just going to pull one of these as the example. But for right now, we're going to go back to our OBS. We'll actually minimize this. We're going to go back to our OBS, and in scenes, go ahead and hit that plus sign. We're going to add a new scene. I'm just going to call DCD example just for time's sake. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. And now that we're in sources, and now that we're in the DCD example thing, you're going to start with no sources. I'm going to go ahead and add a display capture so you can see what I'm doing. So in sources right here, once you start a new scene, there will be nothing in this box. So if it's just a black screen, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Don't stress. Go ahead and hit this plus sign. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have our game capture. So go ahead and hit game capture. It should come standard with a game capture. As far as I know, as soon as you install OBS, that should be one of the ones that you have standard. Hit OK. With your game capture, you won't have to change any of the size settings. Like you see this one little thing up the top left, that'll stay there. I don't think you should have to change anything else. I think it just naturally fits to the screen. So make sure you've got your game capture first. It is important to have it first before creating the overlay source. So just make sure you've got that down first. Also make sure that it is picking up your mic. I mean, sometimes it's turned down, sometimes it's turned up too high. I like to keep it right about here because you can see it just barely goes into the yellow, which I've found is a pretty decent volume level. You can change it to your liking though, based on the mic that you have, whether you're using an external mic, internal mic, whichever you choose. Once we've got our game capture up as our base level or our base order, I guess template, or if you want to call it that, or a source rather, it's more accurate. Once we've got that, we're going to go back to our StreamElements overlay page, and we're going to go and just pick one of these. Once I launch one of these overlays, it's just going to open it in a new tab. For privacy's sake, I'm not actually going to show you that tab just because it'll have the real URL. And I don't want anyone just to kind of pull the URL from this video in case they're passing by. So once you log in, you'll see where it says launch overlay. It's at the bottom left of every single one of these. Just hit launch overlay. It'll pull it up in a new tab, and then go ahead and grab that that URL. So I'm just going to grab this one just for the time being, just for example's sake. Copy that, and then go back to your OBS. We'll actually minimize this. Go back to your OBS and hit that plus sign again where sources is. Once you hit that, near the top is browser. And we're going to go ahead and hit the browser one, create new. We're going to say it's DCD example in-game. We're going to act like we're using the in-game overlay. You can't name your source the same as your scene. So if worst comes to worst, just throw a hyphen in there if it's the same thing. Being that mine's not the same thing, it works, but try to name your sources and your scenes as accurately as you can while still keeping it simple, because it'll help you find the source and scene that you're actually looking for much more quickly. You can see all the ones I have right here: DCD Rocket League, be right back, Rocket League Endgame, Rocket League in-game, Rocket League starting soon. You get the idea. Just so that if I need to add one, boom, I can find it just like that. So we're going to create this new one because we're acting like we're starting from scratch. And again, this was our browser capture. So we're going to make sure that we've gone to sources, hit that plus sign, go up to browser. It'll say this, hit create new, name it, hit OK. Once we've done that, it'll bring up this window. This window is where you're going to post that URL. So go ahead and hit Control V. That's your paste function on your keyboard. Once you're there, you're going to go ahead and set your width and height to your screen resolution, whatever your native screen resolution is. Mine's 1920 by 1280. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then leave the FPS at 30 because the FPS is actually what the stream overlay is set to, not necessarily what your OBS is set to. So leave that there, and then leave the custom CSS be just for the time being. I haven't ever messed with that. It's just one of those things that comes up, and I don't touch it, and it's worked well so far. After that, you're going to hit OK. And once you've hit OK, it's going to bring up this. This just shows the website that I chose, and it's capturing that. I will actually go back and I'll pull one of the overlays. So we're going to go ahead and hit properties and scratch it. We'll cancel that real quick. We'll go and we'll grab one of the overlays just so you can see what it looks like. I'll end up deleting this row and then recreating it just so it gives us a different unique URL. That way no one can kind of pull it and try to use it as if they're DCD. So we're going to launch this one right now, and you'll see the overlay template right here. Now you're going to go ahead and pull that URL. We're going to hit copy up there, same thing that we just did. Go back, and if you already have it set up, just go to properties. It'll pull this back up and then paste it there. Hit OK. We're going to minimize this, and now you see we've got our overlay set up. So you can see things are kind of moving, you know, this is what an animated scene is. It has moving components to it. Now that we've got this and you've got your game capture underneath that, whatever game you're playing will show up underneath this overlay. So you don't have to worry about moving anything or anything like that or trying to figure out if it looks right or not. You can even watch your own stream as you're streaming if you want with your mobile device, or if you have like a tablet or something like that, or another computer to watch it. The last thing to do is hit that plus button again. If you're going to be streaming with a video capture where you want people to be able to see you, go ahead and hit that add button, hit video capture device, add existing, hit OK, and now you're going to see my bright shining face. We're going to kind of minimize that a little bit, try to get to fit somewhat nicely into this border. It doesn't have to be exact, just kind of get it to where it looks like it fits well. Once we've done that, you're going to go ahead and go to your video capture device and hit order or float over order and hit move down. It's going to go down just one layer. That way you see now it's tucked underneath the overlay. You want your overlay to be the very top layer in your scene, or your source rather. That way it sits on top of everything. It sits on top of the game capture, it sits on top of the video capture, all that. And you want your video capture to sit on top of your game capture. That way the order is correct, and you won't be trying to overlap stuff and have it not look right. At the end of the day, though, that's literally it, fellas. If you have any questions on this, either reach out to Marlon or Andrew or I, and we'll answer any questions that we can. And if you need help, if you want specific help on setting yours up in person, you can go ahead and either hit one of us up. I might be the most available when it comes to weekends. I can't say that for sure every weekend. But I do really enjoy helping people set up their systems and set up their streaming program and stuff. So go ahead and reach out to us. Let us know if you need help, and we would love to help you get started. Yeah, if you guys need anything specific, guys and gals need anything specific, like a different overlay, same thing, just reach out to us. They don't take super long to make. So if you really wanted a specific one, you see one in that overlay gallery or the theme gallery, and you're like, oh my gosh, that one, like that's the one that I want for whatever game I'm going to be playing. Reach out to us and let us know, and I will get cracking on it as soon as I'm able to, and we'll get that up and going for you. If nothing else, though, it's all about DatClickDoe. I would love to see more streaming and more participation, so by all means, I hope this helps you get your streaming started. And just have fun with it, fellas. And remember, it's all about DatClickDoe.